Hello, welcome to Lothar's Guitar School, and today's topic is, you might have guessed it, the circle of fifth. Why do we deal with it? Because it is important in music theory and there are a lot of applications for it. First we have to divide the circle into 12 different parts, 12 equal parts. Why 12? Because in Western civilization that's the way the music system was divided. A well-tempered piano has 7 white keys, 5 black keys, makes it 12. Our guitar is divided into 12 frets within the octave. So let's divide it into 12 equal parts. 12 equal parts because we have a 12-tone system. On the top of it we have the key of C. 1/5 up we have the key of G. 1/5 down we have the key of F. 1/5 down. Since the key of C has C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, from the 3rd to the 4th step, a half step, and through the 7th and 8th, the key of G needs to heighten the F to the F sharp. So that's the first sharp we have. Because otherwise we wouldn't have a half step from the 7th to the 8th step. So let's listen to that. So now we divided the circle into 12 equal parts with C on the top, G 1/5 up, and F 1/5 down. In the key of C we have the half step between 3rd and 4th and 7th and 8th, which is E and F and B and C. If we now go to the key of G, we have to heighten the 7th to the 8th step, so that we have again a half step. So that makes that an F sharp. And now let's look what happens if we go to the other keys. If we go to the next one up is the key of D. D, E, we have the F sharp one already, F sharp, G, A, B, and now we have to heighten the C to C sharp, D. So we have a half step again. So the key of D has 2 sharps, the F sharp and the C sharp. Move up one further to the A. We have A to B, C sharp to D, which makes that the half step. E, F sharp we have already, and now we come up to the G sharp to have a half step between 7th and 8th step again, and so forth. Now let's fill in the sharps. G has 1 sharp. The key of D now has 2 sharps. It has the F sharp and the C sharp. The key of A, 1/5 up, has 3 sharps, which is now the G sharp additionally. The key of E, 1/5 up, has 4 sharps. Now comes additionally the D sharp. Key of B has 5 sharps. This additionally now the A sharp. And the key of F sharp has 6 sharps. The E sharp is added to it. So each time we have 1 more sharp. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp. And if you don't know which one is added, look at the circle of fifth. First time the F sharp, F gets a sharp, then the C gets a sharp, then the G gets a sharp, D gets a sharp, A gets a sharp, E gets a sharp. So that's like a help to understand. If you go from C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, which is always a fifth up, we have the sharps F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp. So Now let's continue. So that was it for the sharp keys, from C going down to F sharp. What about the flat keys? We had already the key of F, which has one flat, then going down further to B flat, E flat, and so forth. What flats do we have there? We need, again, from the third to the fourth and to the seventh and eighth step, half steps. So that means F, G, A, and now we need a flat, B flat, to have the half step. B, C, D, E, F. The key of B flat, C, D, and now we need an E flat. F, G, A, B. And key of E flat, F, G, half step, going to the A flat now, B flat, C, D, E flat, and so forth. Let's check that with all the flat keys. C, 1/5 down goes to F. In order to have from the third to the fourth and to the seventh and eighth step, half steps again, we need to add a flat. F, G, A, B flat is the first flat that we add, which is the B flat. So we have from the third to the fourth step a half step, and then continuing C, D, E, F. So this has one flat. 1/5 down, we come to B flat. That has two flats. The flat that is added is F, C, D, E flat is the next flat added. We go down F, B, the key of E flat has three flats. And which one is added? E flat, F, G, A flat. So we have another half step there. So you might have already seen the periodically element that happens here. 4 flats for A flat, and we add the D flat, which is then the next key as well. And that has 5 flats. And the last one what you do is G flat, which is the same as F sharp in the well-tempered system, and that has 6 flats. So that's the complete circle of fifth with all sharps and flats. And if you look at it, which flat is added, when you go to the circles, always starting here, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and that would be like the C flat. That's another help to find out. Let's continue what else we can do with it. Now we learned all the accidentals, the sharp keys, the flat keys, all 12 keys. But there's more to it. Now let's look at the relative minor keys. Relative minor means that's the key that belongs to a major key without changing the accidentals. In the key of C, that is the key of A minor. It's always the key which is minor third below. So the same notes, but just starting with a different starting note. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that's the key of C. Starting with the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, that's the key of A minor. And if you are aware of the modes, that's the Aeolian scale. And filling in the relative minor keys into the circle of fifth is important to learn chord progressions, to understand chord progressions. So let's first fill in all the relative minor keys. Relative minor means that's the key a minor third below the major key. So in the case of C, that is the A minor key. Has the same notes as the key of C. So if we continue here, G, that would be the E minor. Continue here to D, that would be the B minor. Continue to the A, that would be the F sharp minor. E is the C sharp minor. B would be the G sharp minor. And the last one here on this one would be the D sharp minor. That's the same for the flats. F goes down to the D minor. Is that the relative minor key? B flat, that is the G minor. E flat is the C minor. A flat is the F minor. D flat has the B flat minor. And G flat then has the E flat minor as the relative key. So those are the relative minor keys in the circle of fifth. What can we do with it? Let's check. So since we filled in all the major keys, all the relative minor, now let's see what we can do aside from knowing sharps and accidentals. One thing that is easy to understand is always you see immediately the fifth degree of the key, because that's the one next to the right, the chord that is next to the right in the circle. So C, the dominant is G, and the G, the dominant is D, and for D the dominant is A, and for A the dominant is E, and so forth. We can do that with the cycle with the flats as well. You know, the dominant of A flat is E flat, and the dominant of E flat is B flat, and the dominant of B flat is F, and the dominant of F is C, and so forth. What else can you do? Well, another simple chord form is the blues. It consists of the tonic, the first degree, the fourth degree, and the fifth degree. So whenever you have a blues, you just look at your circle of fifth and know, aha, the subdominant, the fourth degree, is the one to the left, and the dominant is to the right. So if we play a blues in the key of B flat, 4 bars, then we go to 2 bars of E flat, which is to the left of the B flat. And then we go back to the B flat, and at the end we go from F, which is the fifth, down to the E flat, to the B flat. It's a nice, helpful idea, so you can play in all keys the blues now. Another standard progression is the 1-2-5. 1-2 minor, 5-7. And you find the 1, that's your key. The 2 minor is the subdominant minor relative. So you go to the left and go to the minor key, that's the 2 minor, and then go to the dominant, which you know is the one to the right. So when you are in the key of A, let's say, then you go to the B minor, and then go to the E, which is the 5, and go back to A. Or if you are in the key of E flat, you go then to the F minor, F minor 7 here that is, and then go to the B flat 7 to E major again. So you can use that circle of fifth and immediately find your progression. Another standard turnaround is the 1, 6 minor, 2 minor, 5, 7. 1, 6, 2, 5. And the 6 is a minor and the 2 is a minor. So in the key of C, you have C first, then go to the A minor, which is the relative minor. Then you go to the relative minor of the subdominant, which is to the left. And then go to the dominant, which is to the right of your key. Yes, and this now you can do in all different keys. Let's say we're in the key of F. Going to the 6 minor, which is D minor 7. Going to the G minor 7, C7. And you can do this now through all keys, and that makes the understanding of the progressions, how they are together, much easier. So let's look at it once again in the key here. So looking at progressions, the circle of fifth helps us to find the dominant, which is always to the right. The dominant of C is G. The dominant of, if G is D, the dominant of D is A. Or the same here, the dominant of A flat is E flat. So you can easily find the dominants. Going to the blues, you have the subdominant and the dominant. The 1, the 4, and the 5. So you go from 1, which is 4 bars, then you do 2 bars of the 4th, which is the F, and then go back to C, and then at the end it ends with G, F, C. But you can do that in any key now if you look at the circle of fifth. If there's a blues in the key of E flat, then the subdominant is the A flat, going down to the E flat again, and at the end is B flat, A flat, E flat, and so forth. A standard progression is the 1, 2 minor 7, 5 progression. And you find that easily in the circle of fifth by looking here. In the key of C, that's C, then going to the relative minor of the subdominant, which is D minor, and then going to the G. C, D minor 7, G7, C major 7 is what we use 1, 2 minor 7, 5, 7. And you can use that in any key. Now going to the key of A, for instance, then the 2 minor 7 is the B minor, going to the E7, going to A. Or being in the key of A flat, you're going to the B minor, to the E flat 7, to A flat. So that gives you a lot of options. The last idea is a common standard turnaround: 1, 6, 2 minor 7, 2 minor 7, 5, 7. And that is 1, C, going to the 6 minor 7, which is the relative key, going to the 2, which is the one relative of the subdominant, going to the G7. So 1, 2, the 1, 6 minor 7, 2 minor 7, 5, 7 is C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. And you can do that now with the knowledge of the circle of fifth in all keys. Like in the key of G, that means we go from G to E minor to A minor to D7. And in the key of G, that means we go from F to the D minor 7, to the G minor 7, to the C7, to the F. So this way you can derive all the standard turnarounds easily from the circle of fifth. One last idea what you can do with the circle of fifth. You can go through all the chords in each key, all the modes. So you get used to all the different chords in it. We did that already in the key of C. C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, C major 7. And in terms of scales, that's Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, and back to Ionian. And do that in all keys. So do that in the key of G. Do that going down, key of F. And so forth. Get used to all the chord forms, get all the keys, and you'll easily remember all the different degrees of your scales. So of your scales, of your keys, and again, make music with it, not just exercises. Play a loop in the background and play that on top, and have fun with it. So this was the Circle of Fifth at Lothar's Guitar School. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.